The encounter. The gentle hum of advanced machinery filled the air as Dr. Lara Chen moved through the pristine laboratory. Her dark eyes, sharp with intelligence, scanned the various instruments and readouts that surrounded her. At 32, Lara was already one of the world's leading experts in xenobiology, a field that had exploded in importance since the discovery of microbial life on Mars a decade ago. Today, however, Lyra's attention was focused on something far more exciting than Martian bacteria. A week ago, a team of researchers in the Amazon rainforest had unearthed a peculiar artifact. It was unlike anything ever seen on Earth, a metallic sphere about the size of a basketball, covered in intricate, swirling patterns that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. Lyra's heart raced as she approached the containment unit housing the artifact. Despite numerous tests, they had yet to determine its composition or purpose. It defied all known laws of physics, remaining at a constant temperature regardless of its environment and emitting a faint, pulsing energy that no instrument could identify. As Lyra carefully removed the artifact from its container, she couldn't help but marvel at its beauty. The surface was cool to the touch and smooth as glass, yet it had the weight and density of lead. She placed it on the examination table, her fingers tracing the enigmatic patterns that adorned its surface. Suddenly, the lab was plunged into darkness. Lyra blinked, momentarily disoriented. Before she could reach for the emergency light, a soft, blue glow began to emanate from the artifact. The patterns on its surface came alive, pulsing and swirling with an otherworldly light. Lyra took a step back, her scientific curiosity warring with a primal instinct to flee. The glow intensified, and the air around the artifact seemed to shimmer and distort. In a flash of brilliant light, a figure materialized beside the examination table. Lyra's breath caught in her throat as she beheld the being before her. It was humanoid in shape, standing slightly taller than her, with a lithe, graceful form. Its skin was a pale, iridescent blue that seemed to ripple and shift like the surface of a calm ocean. Large, almond-shaped eyes of the deepest black regarded her with an intensity that made her shiver. For a moment, neither moved. The alien, for Lyra was certain that's what it was, tilted its head slightly, as if studying her. Then, to her amazement, it spoke. The words were unlike any language Lyra had ever heard, a melodic series of clicks, whistles, and trills that seemed to bypass her ears and resonate directly in her mind. Instinctively, Lyra raised her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. I'm Dr. Lyra Chen, she said, her voice trembling slightly. Can you understand me? The alien's eyes narrowed slightly, and Lyra felt a peculiar sensation, as if tendrils of thought were gently probing her mind. Then, to her astonishment, it responded in perfect English. Greetings, Dr. Lyra Chen. I am Zarek of the Luminae. I apologize for the intrusion, but your activation of the beacon left me no choice but to respond. Lyra's scientific mind kicked into overdrive, 1,000 questions vying for attention. Beacon, you mean the artifact, and how are you speaking English? Zarek's lips, if they could be called that, curved into what Lyra interpreted as a smile. The artifact, as you call it, is a trans-dimensional communication device. As for your language, I am not speaking it in the way you understand. Our minds are in direct communion, allowing for perfect comprehension. Lyra's head spun with the implications. Direct mental communication, trans-dimensional travel. It was beyond anything she had ever imagined possible. Why are you here? She managed to ask. Zarek's expression grew serious. My people, the Luminae, are facing a crisis that threatens our very existence. We have been searching the cosmos for a species with the potential to help us. When your people discovered our beacon, we knew we had found what we were looking for. Lyra frowned, confusion and skepticism warring within her. But why us? Surely there are more advanced civilizations out there. Zarek shook his head, an oddly human gesture. Advanced technology is not what we seek. The Luminae possess capabilities far beyond what you might imagine. What we need, what we have seen in your species, is something far rarer and more precious. In the quiet town of Lumina, nestled between rolling hills and ancient forests, life had always followed a predictable pattern. That was until Zara, a young woman with an insatiable curiosity, stumbled upon a discovery that would change everything. The sun had just begun to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, as Zara made her way through the dense underbrush of the forest. Her boots crunched on fallen leaves, the sound echoing in the stillness of the approaching twilight. Zara's emerald eyes darted from tree to tree, searching for any sign of the rare medicinal herbs she'd been tasked with gathering. But fate had other plans for her that evening. As she pushed aside a curtain of vines, Zara's breath caught in her throat. Before her stood an ancient stone archway, its surface covered in swirling patterns that seemed to glow faintly in the fading light. At its center, suspended in mid-air, hovered a small, crystalline object no larger than her palm. Zara's heart raced as she approached the artifact. Every instinct told her to turn back, to leave this mysterious discovery untouched. But the pull of the unknown was too strong to resist. With trembling fingers, she reached out and grasped the crystal. The moment her skin made contact, a surge of energy coursed through her body. Zara gasped, her vision blurring as images flashed before her eyes. Distant worlds, strange creatures, and cosmic wonders beyond imagination. When the sensation subsided, she found herself on her knees, the crystal clutched tightly to her chest. As Zara struggled to catch her breath, she became aware of a change within herself. The forest around her seemed more alive than ever before. She could sense the flow of sap in the trees, feel the heartbeats of small animals hiding in their burrows. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a world teeming with energy and life that had always been there, just beyond her perception. Overwhelmed by the experience, Zara stumbled back towards town, the crystal safely tucked away in her satchel. As she emerged from the forest's edge, she noticed strange lights dancing in the sky above Lumina. They moved with purpose, unlike any stars or celestial bodies she had ever seen. Suddenly, one of the lights descended rapidly, touching down at the outskirts of town. Zara's curiosity overrode her fear, and she found herself moving towards the landing site. As she drew closer, she saw a figure emerge from a shimmer in the air, tall, slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to reflect the starlight. The being turned its gaze towards Zara, its eyes a swirling vortex of colors. In that moment, she felt a connection, a sense of recognition that defied explanation. The creature's voice resonated in her mind, a symphony of alien sounds that somehow formed coherent thoughts. At last, it communicated, the awakened one has emerged. The cosmic dance begins anew. Zara's mind reeled with questions, but before she could voice any of them, more lights appeared in the sky. The being's demeanor shifted, urgency replacing the initial wonder of their encounter. "You must leave this place," it projected into her thoughts. "They come for the Nexus crystal. Your journey begins now, awakened one. Seek the celestial sanctum. The fate of worlds hangs in the balance." With those cryptic words, the being shimmered and vanished, leaving Zara alone with the weight of a destiny she didn't understand. The crystal in her satchel pulsed with energy, as if affirming the gravity of the moment. Zara knew in that instant that her life in Lumina had come to an end. Whatever path lay before her, it led far beyond the boundaries of her small town. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she turned towards home, knowing that she had precious little time to gather supplies and say her goodbyes. As she packed a small bag with essentials, Zara's mind raced with the implications of what had transpired. The crystal, the alien being, the newfound awareness of the world around her, it all pointed to something far greater than she could have imagined. Part of her longed for the simplicity of her former life, but a growing sense of purpose pushed those thoughts aside. Dawn was just breaking as Zara stood at the edge of town, her path leading into the unknown. She took one last look at the place that had been her home for all her life, committing every detail to memory. Then, with a deep breath and squared shoulders, she took her first step on a journey that would challenge everything she thought she knew about herself and the universe. As Zara ventured forth, the crystal hummed with energy, guiding her towards a destiny that would test the limits of her courage, creativity, and newfound abilities. Little did she know that her awakening was just the beginning of an adventure that would span galaxies and alter the course of history itself. The road ahead was shrouded in mystery, but Zara pressed on, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a growing sense of responsibility. With each step, she left behind the familiar and embraced the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges awaited her on the path to the celestial sanctum. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Zara's journey truly began. The world around her seemed to pulse with newfound vibrancy, every plant and creature singing its own unique song of life. She found herself attuned to these rhythms, drawing strength and guidance from the very essence of nature itself. Her first test came as she crossed a raging river, swollen by recent rains. In the past, such an obstacle would have forced her to seek an alternate route. But now, as she focused on the flow of water, Zara felt a strange connection. With a gesture of her hand, guided by instinct rather than knowledge, the currents parted before her, creating a dry path across the riverbed. Astonished by her own abilities, Zara quickly crossed before the concentration wavered. As the waters crashed back into place behind her, she realized the true extent of the changes wrought by the Nexus crystal. She was no longer just Zara of Lumina. She was becoming something more, something the universe itself seemed to recognize. As day turned to night, Zara made camp in a small clearing. The crystal pulsed rhythmically, its soft glow providing comfort in the darkness. As she drifted off to sleep, her dreams were filled with visions of distant worlds and ancient civilizations. She saw great cities of crystal and light, witnessed the birth and death of stars, and felt the ebb and flow of cosmic energies. When she awoke, Zara found her mind expanded, filled with knowledge she couldn't possibly have acquired on her own. The dreams, she realized, were more than mere fantasies. They were glimpses into the vast tapestry of the universe, insights granted by the crystal's power. With this new understanding came a sense of urgency. The beings that sought the crystal, the ones the alien had warned her about, were drawing closer. Zara could feel their presence like a shadow at the edge of her consciousness. She knew she had to reach the celestial sanctum before they caught up with her. As she continued her journey, Zara encountered others whose lives had been touched by cosmic forces. A hermit living in the mountains showed her how to channel the energy flowing through her to heal and rejuvenate. A wandering bard taught her songs that could influence the very fabric of reality when sung with the right intent. Each encounter left Zara stronger, more in tune with her awakened abilities. But they also revealed the true scope of the conflict she had unwittingly become a part of. The crystal she carried was one of many nexus points, focal points of cosmic energy scattered across the universe. In the wrong hands, they could be used to reshape reality itself, to dominate worlds and enslave entire species. The weight of this knowledge pressed heavily on Zara's shoulders. She had never sought to be a hero, had never imagined herself as anything more than a simple herbalist from a quiet town. Now, the fate of countless worlds rested in her hands. As she crested a hill overlooking a vast plain, Zara saw her destination for the first time. The celestial sanctum stood in the distance, a towering structure that seemed to bridge the gap between earth and sky. Its spires gleamed with an otherworldly light, beckoning her forward. But between Zara and the sanctum lay a host of challenges. Strange creatures roamed the plain, some benign, others hostile. Reality itself seemed to warp and shift in places, creating pockets of altered time and space. And beyond it all, she could sense the approaching presence of those who sought to claim the crystal's power for themselves. Zara took a deep breath, centering herself as she had learned to do. The crystal's energy flowed through her, harmonizing with the natural world around her. She was no longer afraid. Whatever trials lay ahead, she would face them with courage and determination. With a final look back at the path she had traveled, Zara began her descent towards the celestial sanctum. The first chapter of her journey was coming to a close, but she knew that the true test of her awakened abilities was yet to come. As she walked, the words of the alien being echoed in her mind. The fate of worlds hangs in the balance. Zara of Lumina, the awakened one, strode forward to meet her destiny. The universe watched and waited, poised on the brink of monumental change. And at the heart of it all was a young woman who had dared to reach out and grasp the unknown, forever altering the cosmic dance of creation. The plains stretched out before Zara, a vast expanse of swaying grass and shifting reality. Each step brought new wonders and dangers as she made her way towards the distant spires of the celestial sanctum. The Nexus crystal pulsed against her chest, a constant reminder of the immense responsibility she carried. As she traversed the ever-changing landscape, Zara encountered pockets of warped space where gravity seemed to lose its hold. In one such area, she found herself walking on air, the ground far below her feet. Panic threatened to overtake her until she remembered the lessons of the mountain hermit. Closing her eyes, she focused on the energy flowing through her, using it to stabilize her connection to the earth even as she floated above it. It was during one of these gravity-defying moments that Zara first spotted her pursuer. A dark, shadowy figure moved across the plain with unnatural speed, leaving a trail of withered grass in its wake. The sight sent a chill down her spine, and she knew instinctively that this was one of the beings the alien had warned her about. Zara quickened her pace, her heart racing as she navigated the treacherous terrain. Just as the shadow seemed about to overtake her, she stumbled into a hidden grove, its boundaries shimmering with protective energy. As she crossed the threshold, the world around her shifted, and she found herself in a place of tranquil beauty. At the center of the grove stood an ancient tree, its branches reaching towards the sky like grasping fingers. Seated at its base was a figure that seemed to be both impossibly old and eternally young. The being opened eyes that sparkled with starlight and smiled at Zara. "Welcome, awakened one," the figure said, its voice like the rustling of leaves in a cosmic wind. "I am Aeon, keeper of time and space. I have been waiting for you." Zara approached cautiously, her experiences having taught her to be wary of the unknown. "You know who I am? Why I'm here?" Aeon's laughter was like the tinkling of distant bells. "I know all that was, is, and might be. Your coming has been written in the stars since the dawn of creation. But knowledge is not understanding, young one. That is something you must gain for yourself." Over the next few days, though time seemed to flow strangely in the grove, Aeon taught Zara to harness the full potential of her awakened abilities. She learned to bend light, to step through the fabric of space, and to perceive the intricate web of energy that connected all things. "The power you wield is not yours alone," Aeon explained as Zara practiced manipulating the energies around her. "It belongs to the universe itself. You are but a conduit, a focal point through which cosmic forces flow. Remember this, and you will never be overwhelmed by the responsibility you bear." As Zara grew stronger and more confident in her abilities, Aeon's demeanor became more serious. "The shadows that pursue you are agents of the void, an ancient force that seeks to unmake creation itself. They believe that by harnessing the power of the Nexus crystals, they can return the universe to a state of primordial chaos." The weight of this knowledge settled heavily on Zara's shoulders. "How can I hope to stand against such a force? I'm just one person." Aeon's eyes sparkled with a mixture of wisdom and mischief. "Ah, but you are not alone, dear one. Even now, allies are gathering. Your journey has set in motion events that will shape the fate of galaxies." As if in response to Aeon's words, the grove shimmered, and two new figures stepped through the veil separating dimensions. One was tall and lithe, with skin that seemed to ripple with colors of the rainbow, the same alien being Zara had encountered on the night of her awakening. The other was a creature of living metal, its body constantly shifting and reforming. "Meet Lyra of the Starborn and Nexus, the living machine," Aeon introduced them. They, like you, are guardians of the cosmic balance. Together, you will stand against the encroaching void. Lyra stepped forward, her movements graceful and fluid. We have watched your progress with great interest, Zara of Earth. Your courage and adaptability give us hope. Nexus's voice was a harmonious blend of tones and frequencies. The void's agents grow bolder. We must make haste to the celestial sanctum if we are to prevent them from claiming its power. Zara looked at her new companions, a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through her. I'm ready, she said, surprised by the conviction in her own voice. Ayan nodded approvingly. Remember, awakened one, the greatest power lies not in the crystal you carry, but in the connections you forge. Trust in yourself and in those who stand beside you. With those parting words, the grove faded away, and Zara found herself once again on the plains, Lyra and Nexus at her side. The celestial sanctum loomed closer now, its spires piercing the sky like a bridge between worlds. As they journeyed together, Zara learned more about her companions and the cosmic struggle they were a part of. Lyra's people, the Starborn, were ancient custodians of galactic knowledge, watching over the development of countless civilizations. Nexus was a unique being, a fusion of organic life and advanced technology, created to safeguard the delicate balance of the universe. Their path was not easy. The agents of the void hounded their steps, manifesting as shadows that drained the life from everything they touched. Zara and her companions fought back with their combined abilities, Zara manipulating the energies around them, Lyra calling upon the power of distant stars, and Nexus reconfiguring reality itself with its advanced technology. As they neared the sanctum, the attacks grew more frequent and more deadly. During one particularly fierce battle, Zara found herself separated from the others, face to face with a being of pure darkness. The shadow being loomed over Zara, its form a writhing mass of darkness that seemed to absorb all light around it. Fear threatened to paralyze her, but she drew strength from her training with Aeon and the presence of her newfound allies. You cannot hope to stand against the void, the creature hissed, its voice like the whisper of dying stars. Surrender the crystal, and we may yet spare your insignificant world. Zara stood her ground, the Nexus crystal pulsing with energy against her chest. I will never surrender, she declared, her voice steady despite her racing heart. This crystal, this power, it doesn't belong to me or to you. It's part of the cosmic balance, and I won't let you destroy that. As the shadow lunged towards her, Zara reached deep within herself, drawing upon the connection she felt to the universe around her. The crystal's energy surged through her body, and she raised her hands, channeling a burst of pure, radiant light. The shadow recoiled, its form dissipating like smoke in the wind. But Zara knew this was only a temporary victory. She could sense more of the void's agents converging on their location. Lyra and Nexus fought their way back to her side, both showing signs of the intense battle. We cannot hold them off indefinitely, Lyra said, her iridescent skin dimmed with fatigue. Nexus's form shifted, parts of its body reconfiguring to repair damage. Agreed, we must reach the sanctum. It is our only hope of turning the tide against the void. With renewed determination, the trio pressed on. The plains gave way to rocky terrain, the very ground beneath their feet seeming to resist their progress. Reality itself appeared to warp and twist, a sign that they were approaching the heart of the nexus point. As they climbed a steep incline, the air around them suddenly grew thick and heavy. Zara felt as if she were moving through water, each step requiring immense effort. She looked to her companions and saw that they too were struggling. The void, Lyra gasped, her voice strained. It's trying to slow us down, to drain our energy. Nexus's form flickered, its usually smooth transitions becoming jerky and erratic. My systems are struggling to compensate. The laws of physics are breaking down. Zara closed her eyes, focusing on the energy of the crystal and the teachings of Aeon. She reached out with her senses, feeling the distorted reality around them. With careful concentration, she began to manipulate the energies, creating a bubble of normalized space around them. "Stay close to me," she instructed, her voice tight with effort. "I can maintain this field, but not for long." Together, they pushed forward, protected by Zara's energy field. The landscape became increasingly surreal. Rocks floated in mid-air, time seemed to flow backwards in places, and impossible geometries twisted the very fabric of space. As they neared the summit of the incline, a massive rift tore open the sky before them. Through it, Zara caught glimpses of other worlds, other realities. The sight was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. "The void grows desperate," Lyra observed. "It seeks to destabilize its entire region of space-time." Nexus extended a tendril of its form, analyzing the rift. "If we don't reach the sanctum soon, this entire planet may be torn apart." The weight of their mission pressed heavily on Zara. She thought of her home, of Lumina, and all the people she had left behind. Their fate, the fate of countless worlds, rested on her shoulders. With a deep breath, she strengthened her resolve. "Then we don't stop, no matter what." As they crested the hill, the celestial sanctum finally came into full view. It was a structure that defied description, a massive citadel that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its spires reached impossibly high, disappearing into the rift-torn sky. But between them and their goal stood an army of shadow beings, their forms rippling with malevolent energy. At their center was a figure that radiated darkness, the Void Lord, master of the shadow agents. "So," its voice boomed across the distorted landscape, "the last defenders of a dying order dare to challenge us. Your struggle is futile. The age of chaos is upon us, and not even your precious Nexus crystals can stop the inevitable." Zara stepped forward, flanked by Lyra and Nexus. The crystal at her chest blazed with light, responding to her unwavering determination. "We're not here to stop the inevitable," she declared. "We're here to fight for possibility, for the right of every being to shape their own destiny. The universe isn't yours to unmake." The Void Lord's laughter was like the death rattle of galaxies. "Brave words, little awakened one. Let us see if you have the power to back them up." With a gesture, the Void Lord unleashed its army of shadows. They surged forward, a tidal wave of darkness threatening to engulf everything in its path. Zara looked to her companions, seeing in their eyes the same mix of fear and determination she felt. "Together," she said simply. Lyra nodded, her form beginning to glow with stellar energy. "Together," she echoed. Nexus's body reconfigured, transforming into a dazzling array of energy weapons. "United we stand," it intoned. As one, they charged forward to meet the oncoming horde. Zara channeled the power of the Nexus crystal, weaving it together with Lyra's cosmic energies and Nexus's advanced technology. The resulting blast of pure creation energy cut through the shadows like a scythe through wheat. The battle that followed was unlike anything Zara could have imagined when she first left a small town. She manipulated reality itself, bending light and gravity to her will. Lyra called down the fury of the stars, while Nexus reconfigured the very atoms around them to create impenetrable barriers and devastating weapons. Slowly, steadily, they fought their way towards the sanctum. The Void Lord raged, unleashing ever more powerful attacks, but the trio stood firm. Their combined power, born of different worlds but united in purpose, proved to be a match for the forces of chaos. As they neared the sanctum's entrance, Zara felt a shift in the energy around them. The crystal at her chest resonated with the structure, creating a harmony that seemed to strengthen their efforts. "The sanctum recognizes us," Lyra shouted over the din of battle. "It's lending us its power." With one final monumental effort, they unleashed a wave of pure creative force. The remaining shadow beings dissolved, unable to withstand the combined might of the Nexus crystal, the celestial sanctum, and the three united guardians. The Void Lord roared in frustration as its physical form began to dissipate. "This isn't over," it snarled. "The void is eternal. We will return." As the last of the shadows faded away, Zara, Lyra, and Nexus stood before the towering doors of the celestial sanctum. They were battered, exhausted, but triumphant. Zara placed her hand on the ancient stone, feeling the pulse of cosmic energy within. "We made it," she breathed, almost unable to leave it. Lyra placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Indeed we did, but our journey is not over yet, young one. Now we must enter the sanctum and learn why the crystal chose you, and what role you are to play in the greater cosmic dance." Nexus's form shifted back to its default state. "Whatever challenges await us inside, we will face them as we have faced all others, together." With a shared look of determination, the three allies pushed open the massive doors. As they stepped into the celestial sanctum, Zara knew that whatever lay ahead would challenge everything she had learned, everything she had become. But with her newfound strength, her awakened abilities, and her trusted companions at her side, she was ready to face whatever the universe had in store. The doors closed behind them, sealing them within the heart of the Nexus Point. The next chapter of their cosmic journey was about to begin. As Zara, Lyra, and Nexus stepped into the celestial sanctum, they were enveloped in a sea of swirling lights and cosmic energies. The interior of the structure defied conventional physics, seeming to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Corridors twisted in impossible angles, chambers expanded into vast cosmic vistas, and staircases led to everywhere and nowhere at once. "It's incredible," Zara breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. The Nexus crystal at her chest pulsed in harmony with the energies surrounding them, as if recognizing its true home. Lyra's iridescent skin shimmered in response to the sanctum's light. The celestial sanctum exists at the convergence of all realities. It is here that the fate of the cosmos is balanced. Nexus's form shifted constantly, adapting to the fluctuating laws of physics within the structure. "We must proceed to the heart of the sanctum. There, we'll find the answers we seek." As they ventured deeper into the otherworldly structure, Zara felt a growing sense of purpose. The challenges she had faced, the journey that had brought her here, it all seemed to be leading to this moment. Yet, questions still nagged at her mind. "Why me?" she asked as they navigated a corridor that seemed to fold in on itself. "Of all the beings in the universe, why did the crystal choose me?" Before her companions could answer, a voice echoed through the chamber, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Because, Zara of Earth, you possess a quality rare in this vast cosmos, the perfect balance of curiosity and compassion." The trio found themselves in a vast circular chamber. At its center floated a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between humanoid and abstract shapes. This was the guardian of the sanctum, ancient beyond measure and wise beyond comprehension. "Welcome, defenders of creation," the guardian intoned. "You have done well to come this far, but your greatest challenge yet awaits." The guardian's form coalesced into a mirror image of Zara, startling her with its accuracy. The Nexus crystals are more than mere conduits of cosmic power. They are the linchpins of reality itself, maintaining the delicate balance between order and chaos, creation and destruction. The chamber around them transformed, showing visions of countless worlds and realities. The void seeks to tip this balance, to return all of existence to a state of primordial chaos. But chaos unchecked means the end of all possibility, all potential. Zara stepped forward, drawn by an instinct she couldn't explain. "How do we stop it? How do we maintain the balance?" The guardian smiled, its form shifting once more. "By doing what you have already begun, by uniting the diverse strengths of creation. The crystal chose you, Zara, because of your unique ability to bridge worlds, to see the connections that bind all things." Suddenly, the sanctum shuddered. Dark tendrils of void energy began seeping through the walls, corrupting the swirling lights. "The Void Lord," Nexus announced, its form reconfiguring into a defensive stance. "It has followed us here." Lyra's eyes widened in alarm. But how? The sanctum should be impenetrable to such forces. The Guardian's expression turned grave. The balance has already been disrupted more than we realized. The void grows stronger with each passing moment. You must act now to restore harmony, or all will be lost. The chamber darkened as the Void Lord materialized, its form a writhing mass of shadows and negative space. How fitting, it sneered, that the last stand of creation should take place here, at the heart of your precious sanctum. Zara felt fear threaten to overwhelm her, but she pushed it aside, drawing strength from her companions and the crystal's warm pulse against her chest. This isn't the last stand of anything, she declared. This is where we make our stand for everything, for every world, every possibility, every future that might be. The Void Lord laughed, a sound like the death of stars. Bold words, little awakened one, but can you back them up with action? The power to reshape reality itself is within my grasp. What hope do you have of stopping me? In that moment, Zara understood what she had to do. She turned to Lyra and Nexus, seeing in their eyes the same realization. Together, she said simply. As one, they moved to form a triangle around the Guardian. The Nexus crystal blazed with light, its energy intertwining with Lyra's stellar power and Nexus's advanced technology. The Guardian added its own essence to the mix, creating a swirling vortex of pure creative force. The Void Lord roared in defiance, unleashing waves of entropic energy that threatened to unravel the very fabric of the sanctum. Zara and her companions stood firm, their combined power forming a barrier against the encroaching darkness. As the two forces clashed, Zara felt herself drawn into a realm beyond physical reality. Here, in this place between places, she could see the true nature of the cosmic struggle. It wasn't simply good versus evil, light versus dark. It was the eternal dance between creation and entropy, possibility and finality. The void wasn't an enemy to be vanquished, she realized, but a necessary part of the universal cycle. Without the possibility of an end, beginnings would have no meaning. The key was balance. With this understanding, Zara reached out not to destroy the void, but to embrace it. She extended her consciousness, feeling the fear and loneliness that drove its destructive urges. I see you, she whispered into the cosmic void. I understand you. You are not our enemy, but our counterpart. Without you, we cannot exist. Without us, you have no purpose. The Void Lord's assault faltered, confusion replacing its rage. What are you doing? It demanded. Zara smiled, channeling all the compassion and understanding she could muster. I'm offering you a choice. Continue this path of destruction, or join us in maintaining the balance. Be part of creation, not its undoing. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the fate of all reality hung in the balance. Then, slowly, the Void Lord's form began to change. The writhing shadows coalesced into a being of dark matter, no longer chaotic, but contained, purposeful. I accept, it said, its voice now a harmonious blend of tones. With those words, a shockwave of energy pulsed outward from the sanctum. Throughout the cosmos, the war between void and creation ceased. A new equilibrium was established, with both forces recognizing their interdependence. As Zara's consciousness returned to her physical form, she found herself back in the sanctum's central chamber. Lyra and Nexus stood beside her, their expressions a mixture of awe and relief. The Guardian beamed with pride, its form now a perfect blend of light and shadow. Well done, awakened one, the Guardian said. You have achieved what countless others thought impossible. You have brought true balance to the cosmos. Zara looked around at her companions, at the transformed Void Lord, and at the swirling energies of the sanctum. She felt different, expanded somehow. The journey that had begun with a curious girl finding a strange crystal had led to this moment of cosmic transformation. What happens now? She asked, suddenly aware of how vast and full of possibility the universe had become. The Guardian's smile widened. Now, Zara of Earth, your true journey begins. The cosmos is full of wonders waiting to be discovered, civilizations in need of guidance, and new challenges to be faced. Will you take up the mantle of cosmic guardian? Zara looked to Lyra and Nexus, seeing in their eyes the same excitement and determination she felt. She thought of her home, of Lumina, and the life she had left behind. That chapter was closed, but a new one, filled with infinite possibilities, lay open before her. With a smile that held all the wonder of newfound purpose, Zara nodded. "I'm ready," she said. "Let's see what the universe has in store for us." As if in response to her words, the sanctum's energy swirled around them, opening a portal to the vast expanse of the cosmos. Hand in hand with her companions, Zara stepped forward into a new adventure, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them among the stars. The Nexus crystal pulsed warmly against her chest, a reminder of the incredible journey that had brought her to this point. Zara knew that whatever lay ahead, she would face it with the same curiosity, compassion, and courage that had awakened her true potential. As they ventured forth into the cosmic unknown, Zara carried with her the lessons of her journey. That true strength comes from unity, that understanding can overcome even the darkest forces, and that within every being lies the potential to shape the very fabric of reality.